Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik from Figured Out Productions. The following video is a video of some kind, and I hope you enjoy it. Hey guys, it's Adam here, and I'm joined by, this is Jesse. Now, I know this is, what's up? I know this is a very improv video. I'm currently in San Francisco for totally unrelated reasons. Jesse here, who is a Patreon backer of mine, reached out to me with a very interesting situation. So, little backstory, and then I'm going to totally let this dude take over because this is a good story. So I apologize for the little chintzy mic. This is a PS4 headset that I use as a lav mic. It's not bad. It's not bad, right?
Last minute.
Yeah, and it works.
It works.
It totally works.
Yeah.
So here's the situation. For people out there who don't know, this is a story about the Atari Jaguar, or pronounce it correctly.
Jaguar.
Yeah, the British hate me for that. So when Atari was going under, they started selling off everything, including their name, back in the late 90s. Now, one of the things they sold was the molds for the console. Now, I've mentioned this in videos, and it's been out there on the internet for a while, but ultimately what happened with it, the molds, is they were bought by a company called Imogen, and they were turned into dental equipment. Mm-hmm. Well, where are we right now?
We are at Imogen Systems.
And look what we have right here. We have it, and we have a phone, but we also have the actual, ultimately the equipment that it was turned into. So I'm going to let Jesse take over here because this is some interesting stuff. So what do you have to tell? Like, he's an interesting middle link in this situation. So tell me anything you can think of you want to talk about this.
Well, actually, it started out watching your videos.
Thank you.
And you know, when I first saw it, you know, you had talked about it. I didn't have a Jaguar at the time, so it didn't really, you know, I wasn't thinking about it. But over here, finally, I got myself a Jaguar. And I went back to revisit your videos again. And you reminded me, hey, there's these shells out there. So I did a eBay search, and sure enough, here's the shell.
Yeah.
On eBay.
Yeah, just on eBay. In fact, I'm going to put a link in the description. These are still available. Not much. They're pretty much gone. But there's a couple left. And they come in different colors and everything.
Yeah. This is supposed to be Jaguar blue.
There you go. So, really, I just wanted to share, first of all, the coolness factor that we're here. That whole story is real. That actually happened. It was turned into dental equipment. What kind of dental equipment specifically? It was like for cameras, right?
These are inter and extra oral cameras. Mm-hmm. Here's the cameras that we have. So this takes pictures on the outside. This guy goes inside your mouth and takes pictures of your teeth. Yeah. So
they bought the molds and turned it into that. Now, the person who bought them, his name is Steve. I did an interview with him that you'll be seeing here in a moment. That dude's going to tell you all about the history of this thing. Mm-hmm. But really, this is just, what a cool factoid to find out not only is that true, but we're here right now holding these things. They're totally legitimate.
Actual Imogen.
Yeah, actual Imogen. And he is no longer in possession of the molds. He talks a little bit about that in the interview. But yeah, I just wanted to share this fascinating story with you guys. I want to thank, of course, Jesse here for not only being a Patreon backer, which you guys are going to hear his name more often in podcasts, but you know, thanks for being involved in the story. And I'm glad I could kind of get you a job a little bit.
Yeah.
So I wasn't intentional.
So what happened was, when I got the package in the mail, I noticed that the address on the package was from Imogen Systems, the actual company. Mm-hmm. So I reached out and I said, hey, you got some brackets? And he replied, yeah, I got some brackets. And then I said, hey, I'm going to be in the Bay Area. Can I just swing by? And he said, sure, swing by. So then here I am. And while I was talking to him about what I do, because I build custom consoles, specifically Game Boy Color Game Boys in original DMG shells. I showed him what I did, and he just about flipped out, and he's like, we need you, because of the microelectronics that I have to do. Mm-hmm. So here I am. This is my second day at the job at Imogen Systems with all this cool stuff.
So yeah, I think that in of itself is a cool little postscript story. That's awesome.
So thanks.
Oh, my pleasure. I can't say I intended it, but I'll take credit. I'll take all the credit. Always take the credit when you get the chance. But yeah, so that's it, guys. Please enjoy the interview and all these glory shots of this thing. And I'm just thrilled to find out that this is true and to actually be able to hold it. So Jesse, thank you very much for the opportunity here.
I'm Steve Mortensen. I'm President and CEO of Imogen Systems Corporation. And I've been involved with the Atari Jaguar and the products that we built from it, and it's truly an interesting story. So I'm finding out.
So can you tell me a little bit about what happened with it?
You mean from the start of
So
it?
just tell me the whole story in your words, like what happened.
It's kind of interesting. I was developing a intraoral camera system for dentistry and was meeting with my molding company. And the molding company saw my designs of a console that we did. And he kind of giggled and he says, boy, this thing's very similar to this Atari product that we have here. And I go, really? I'd love to see it. And so he brought it out, and it basically was pretty similar. The size was different. Ours was a little bit larger. But he kind of whispered to me and said, you know, this product, we don't know where it's going to go, and this thing might be available if you're interested in it. And so I said, you know, I would be interested in it. And one thing led to another, where he set us up with the Atari group and went over to the Atari company and made a deal with them, and we ended up purchasing the tooling for it.
Do you know when that was and how much you paid?
You know, I've got some documents here. you brought some questions up, and I had to go back and scratch my head a little bit. Because
see, we're very legit here. We want all the facts out there.
It was a very long time ago.
No, I understand.
So it was Stoser Industries that was the company that was the molding company that got us involved.
Oh, that's an Atari work order. That's cool.
Yeah, isn't this great stuff?
Can I get a picture of that?
Sure.
Let's take a look at that. Yeah, straight from Atari, guys.
Yeah.
Look at that. 1997.
1997.
So yeah,
there you go.
So you would have bought it around May 30th, 1997. Yeah. Now, do you happen to recall how much you paid for the molds?
You know, we're gonna find out right now because
let's get it right. Yeah.
My memory stick in my brain here isn't as good. Let's see here.
That's so cool.
So
Atari Jaguar CD-ROM tooling. That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
All
This
right.
is John Scrutch.
John Scrutch.
ATS Corporation Atari.
Oh, and that's December 12th, 1997. So the sale happened in 97.
Yeah.
It was just obviously back and forth.
Tooling was to be $1,000. The tooling we purchased. CD-ROM. Yeah, so it wasn't very much money.
So you basically bought the molds for like $1,000, is what you're saying?
I think it was like $1,800 if I
think it was like $1,800
right.
plus this looks like
Yeah.
there was other fees or whatever,
Yeah.
but yeah.
It's funny. I used to know it so well years ago. And
Well, I mean, it was over 20 years ago.
We're digging this out of a
Yeah.
file that I haven't seen for quite a few years, so I'm scratching my head. But this is the original letters, you know, from these guys. And great people, very easy to work with. They were happy to get it off their books, and we were happy to get it because it was a phenomenal design. I still love it today, but you know, we kind of got our gears going and started seeing what we can do with it, and I think we really developed a beautiful console. And I was really ashamed that we didn't really get it into production, you know, just because of the timing of analog versus USB. But it had a light source. It was a dual system for 2 cameras. It had a lot of technology back in the day for analog, but it just wouldn't serve for the USB stuff that started coming in.
So can you tell us more about what it actually became? Like, what did you actually turn it into?
Well, it's basically the docking port for a camera, intraoral camera for dentistry. And our products had a extraoral camera handpiece and an intraoral camera handpiece. So we had 2. And with this camera, or this design, it allowed us to be able to put 2 ports on the chassis, which we had to make a whole new chassis. We removed the back panel of the original Jaguar and put our aluminum chassis inside of it. The design is really, I think it's clever. And it really turned out nice and beautiful. Then we put the colors on it, and even the handles that we did with it, you know, really turned out to be a beautiful piece.
It is very nice looking, yeah.
You know, and you can go from room to room, you know, with docking ports, and And then we have the elaborate docking stations, which weren't cheap. You know, they were very expensive. Yeah. So this is the docking ports that you'd hang them on the wall. And the concept was to be able to go from room to room and dock these cameras, because they sold for around about $7,500 at that time. And so they weren't cheap at that time. And so if you were able to travel with the camera to room and share it, then that would give the dentist or the doctor a little break on the cost. So
if you sold even one, you had already paid off the entire mold.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Although we did put some money into the mold to modify it and you know, make it work. But and Stoser Industries did a great job at helping us and reworking the tooling. And what it was really nice is that the stuff that we didn't damage the tooling. We were able to restore it to the original, so it worked out really well. So, again, I'm sad that it never really got into production, although I would have heard a lot more from the Atari game.
That's exactly what I was about to ask you next. Any interesting stories? I mean, when you bought it, you didn't really think much, I'm guessing you didn't think much about the impact of it being a video game thing. Did that turn into anything? Yeah,
you know, in the back of my mind, I always, because I respect any of the industries that have products, and I'm an engineer, designer, and entrepreneur, so I have feelings for products and where they come from and respect for them. And so in the back of my mind, I always had, you know, the Atari people, or the Atari, you know, children, if you will. You know, I respected that factor of what it was and where it came from, and so always considered it. And we felt strongly that someday we might be able to do something with this. And as I explained to you guys earlier, our facility, no warehousing, it's all office space. It eliminated our storage ability, so we decided to you know, eliminate the products and some of this stuff here, and it was a shame that we had to get rid of it, but you know, we did, and you know, I found somebody through selling some of the white consoles, which we put on eBay, that they wanted to do something with it, and so I felt that it was going to go in a good direction, and you know, under a good umbrella to reunite this thing with everybody. So, and which I'm understanding it hasn't really gone.
Yeah, no, the ill-fated Coleco Chameleon did not work out.
Yeah, that's a shame. So
yeah,
we might have to get it back.
Yeah. Oh well, that would be very interesting. Get it back in your hands. That'd be awesome. Any other things you want to tell us about this? Any encounters? I mean, you know, did it ever occur to you like, oh, it's weird. It's an old video game system that I turned into this. Just any stories, anything that ever came up about it.
You know, I mean, there's probably a lot of little enchanting, you know, comments that would come up. What was really interesting is my kids would all of a sudden come home and say, hey, there's these stories about you all over the internet, and you know, I go, really? And it was all about the Atari and what we did with it, and you know, some people were a little disappointed that it became a dental product, and you know, it was like, what are they thinking? How can they do that? And then there was others that really kind of said, wow, man, did you see what they did with that? That's pretty cool, and you know. So it was just a lot of different stories, and I didn't really realize what I was getting myself into as per that, you know, in that respect. But it was interesting. It was kind of neat to see where this whole thing has gone.
When would you say you stopped using the molds?
It really was stopped probably, you know, the late 90s. We bought them in 97 and really didn't get too far with it into the 2000. Like I say, USB took over and it just changed our direction, and the analog systems, you couldn't sell them. Yeah. We have a few of these things, you know, in the market. They're still out there today probably, but it just, you know, time changes fast in the electronic world, and as you guys know, it's here today, gone tomorrow, and you have to move on. So, but I think some retrofitting, you know, for these things would be a real clever idea. And
already happened.
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
There you go.
Isn't that cool? It's such a beautiful design. It's just I met the people that actually designed this thing, and I was very complimentary to them because it's just a cool design.
Was this the only Atari mold you bought, or did you buy the Jaguar CD mold? Or anything?
I had the CD. Well, I had the cartridge mold.
You have
I didn't have. Actually, I did have the CD. I had the CD drive. I had everything.
Really? Yep. So, did you ever produce anything with the cartridge or the CD design?
No.
So you bought that whole package?
We had ideas about building some microscopes, digital microscopes with the CD-ROM drive. You know, when you see such beautiful work, you know, you just want to try to reinvent it. How can I make this work for something else? And so we had a lot of things on the drawing board that we worked on, but just like I say, the digital, you know, USB came alive and it just sunk everything.
Did you own the rights to the controller?
No.
No. So you got the CD, you got the console, you got the cartridge.
Yeah.
All right, man. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Anything else you can think you want to talk about?
What we were going to do with the cartridge, we were going to turn that into a memory stick, and so you know, with the dental application, you had a video system, and then you had memory. And so we were figuring that we'd have a memory card, you know, built out of this, and we'd have button controls. And I think I have one someplace where we made up a keyboard, and so you'd be able to, you know, page through the different pictures, and but you know, again, analog versus digital, and the digital one. So
I'm going to ask the dumb question that I know a bunch of people are going to ask. Your final version, it doesn't play Jaguar games, right?
No, you know what, I played a lot of different little games, and I played some of the Jaguar stuff, but it's been a long time.
I guess what I'm asking you stick an Atari Jaguar game in that, what happens?
This one here?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing. So you would, if you in theory would have had to create your own like different software.
Absolutely. You know, we didn't get any of the designs for the Atari game itself. So,
okay. It was just the molds.
Yeah, just the molds.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well then, is there anything else you can think of you want to talk about here? Any other stories? Anything at all?
You know, again, I just you know, we had a lot of respect for the name, the trademark of it, the what it stood for, and you know, we had some ideas. It really just came into not being able to store it any longer, and it kind of became a physical crunch that we couldn't handle. So we had to, you know, get rid of them, and you know, we thought we found a group that was going to do something with them, and you know, unfortunately it didn't work out. So, but I think we've got some new products that we're bringing out that we think that's going to do really well, and if we do really well, we might have to go chase this thing down and start playing with them again.
Bring it home.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
We won't do dental with it.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you very much for your time and for telling us this story and getting that out there. It's really a very fascinating piece of Atari history.
I appreciate you appreciate it, and it was a pleasure to talk with you guys.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that interview there. We had a couple more words to say. Specifically, Jesse really wanted to say something.
Well, I want you to look at these shells here.
I see them.
I want you to pick out which color you like.
I think that's very, very nice. I like the basic white one, but I kind of like that it says Imogen on these. And I kind of like this one actually because it's kind of the white one, but it also says Imogen. So I think I like that one the most.
All right, so let's see here. And if you notice, this one actually is a little bit darker. The plastic is a little bit darker than the other ones, so it's a little bit more special. And with the matching bracket.
Matching bracket.
Which is very expensive.
I'm sure.
I'm going to give this to you for the channel.
Wow. Thank you. Are you sure?
No, thank you.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Thank you. Actually, you know what? Since we're doing things here, I totally planned ahead, and I have something for you.
All right.
It's probably better. I'm just letting you know. Like I'm gonna one up you on this. I've got something you're definitely gonna love. I have this napkin from the flight over here. Wow. You can have that. I've got you a bar of soap.
50 years.
Yeah. That's a bar of soap from the hotel. You don't need soap. I'm not saying anything about it. You just can have some soap if you want it. And then I've got you 2 pieces of chocolate. Because, you know, that's as good.
Fresh. Oh, the orchard.
Yeah, the orchard.
Yeah.
I stayed at the orchard.
Thanks, man.
No, yeah, I was going to give you that regardless. Nothing to do with this.
Awesome.
Well, thank you very much for that, dude. That's really cool of you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. And thank you guys for watching. Hope you found that fascinating. Again, there's a couple units he's got left. They're in the description on eBay. I wouldn't expect them to last long after this video. So if you want one, go get them.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys. See you later.